Hello, welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. I'm the caller, joining you from the man cave, somewhere up north. I've got a wonderful panel, specially selected tonight for their footballing nous and knowledge, and Shan. Joining us first from the south coast, he likes to run, so he could have been a gooner. It's John.
Hello, mate. You're right. I haven't been off for a couple of weeks. It's a nice change. Been away for a wedding and stuff, and I'm back.
Yeah.
I haven't been running. I did injure myself though, so I haven't been running much.
So nothing like a gunner then in that case.
Hey.
Well, good to have you. Good to have you back on, John. I have missed you on the show. There's been no one to do the comments and all the rest of it. And we had Davo on last Friday, and to be honest, he started playing this appalling new game show called Sacred
Pigs.
No, not Sacred Pigs. God, no, that'll offend too many people. Sacred Cow, definitely Sacred Cow. But yes, it's good to have you back. All the way from Australia. G'day. How are you, Paul? Must be very early there.
It's very bloody early, mate. It's still dark. It's cold. It's miserable. It's been raining. It's just, I'm a little bundle of joy.
Just like England then, really.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's been like Manchester. So since I've seen you, we had our Spurs National in Newcastle. We had Gary Stevens come over.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
I spent a few hours with Gary Stevens. He is a lovely, lovely man. He is such a nice chap. We had about 100 people in the room for an interview with him, which I did, and just had a really, really good weekend. And it was the weekend, of course, that we beat the Scum and then beat Burnley. So it was really, really good, and many beers were consumed.
It sounds like a good. It's almost worth flying out to Australia to do that. I'd love to come out and see the Spurs one day. But as we established on a previous show, everything tries to kill you in Australia, so I'm probably better to stay away. Actually, that's a point, Paul. That's a good. This leads me on to a good question. Hey,
why aren't I dead?
No, that's a story for another day. But what I wanted to know was, I had a couple of Australians on here the other day, and I asked, what's the worst thing, or like, what do they regularly get that could kill them in their house? Like, have you had any bad spiders or snakes or any of that shit?
Yeah, all of them. So probably the worst thing that happened to us was I was in the office and my daughter phoned me up and said, "Dad, your dog's got a snake and he won't let it go." Like, yeah, don't try and get it off him. I got home and my dog had this snake in two pieces in the garden. So yeah, quite often see snakes in the garden. Funnel webs you see occasionally. Those are probably the worst ones, but they're no match for a size 9.
Is that what you do? Just squash them?
Yeah. Stand on their heads. They don't do anything after that.
Just, like, when you sweep it up, do you have to wear rubber gloves and all the rest of it? Like, are they toxic?
Well, I wear that for fun anyway, but no, it's really not that scary, mate. Honestly,
it sounds
in Sydney, Northampton.
It sounds awful. Well, I don't live in Northampton anyway, but yeah, I take Northampton is pretty run down, but at least they don't have snakes and spiders that could kill you running around.
No, but they do have snakes running around that can kill you. What's the difference?
Just guys with knives. You're going to get people on from Northampton now going, "Oh, why are you slagging my place off, man?" Shan, welcome back. How are you doing? How is North? How is the North?
It's been really rainy today. I don't know how it's been for everyone else, but I got sunburnt yesterday, and then today it's just been. I had my fluffy socks on. It's been freezing. But yeah, after offending what seems like half of Twitter, I'm back. Nice to see you all.
Well, so after you've done offending them today, we might not see you for another couple of months.
To be fair, I don't think I've offended anyone today.
The night is young.
That's what I mean. The night is young. The night is young.
I've got a message for you. I've got a message for you from Vladivostok.
Oh, okay.
So he just wanted to say thank you for Cleethorpes and the fluffy socks. I don't know what that means, but
right.
Nearly you do.
Brilliant.
Definitely is.
No man has ever serenaded me the way Vlad did.
He's a special man.
He's a very special man. There's lots to get through. There's lots to get through. As ever with Tottenham, there's lots of rumours. But before we get to that, please do, 60 of you already in the room. Fantastic. Thanks for your support. Please do consider Super Chat to make your voices heard. And at least hit the like button for us. We want to get to 100 likes minimum during the show. So please do smash that like button. We really appreciate it. We don't want Shan singing again, do we? So absolutely hit the like button, and I'll try and keep her at bay, like a poisonous spider in Paul's backyard. Right, I wasn't comparing you to a poisonous spider, then, Shan. Let's just be really clear. That was
To
a
be
really
fair, you wouldn't be far wrong if you were.
okay. White Widow. There you go. Right, we'll be discussing the latest transfer rumours. And £100 million has dropped into the balance sheet this week in a news that delighted this man, Stevie, my partner in crime at Guns N' Roses this weekend. Steve, the club still haven't sorted the tickets out, so I'm getting slightly worried, but I'm reassured they're in the post. Good to see you in the chat tonight, as it is all our channel members. 100 mil banged into the balance sheet. Shan, does the thought of all those numbers make you very excited?
Yeah, it does. Mainly just to see all the people that said on Twitter, "Oh no, it won't be used on transfers. It'll be used on a cinema." Just to see them eat their own words, really. But no, I think it means that something's going to happen soon. And with Everton needing to do their business before the 30th of June, it's looking likely that funding is going to be used on a certain couple of individuals who I'm sure we'll talk about.
Well, we'll talk about it. It's certainly in a lot of detail tonight. Sleaford is definitely north. It's a long way north. And Stevie's on the Wi-Fi via whatever airline he's flying to. He's normally BA, but they've lost everyone in the baggage area, haven't they? So I'm not sure who he's with tonight.
Can someone track him? He's come back from Portugal. There must be somebody. You know that people track all the Spurs planes. There must be somebody who can track him for us. Send us the coordinates.
Steve's relationship with Levy's that tight. He's probably on the company jet, to be fair. But yeah, Paul, not spoken to you for a while. And last time I did, it was before this £150 million cash injection for players and other matters. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think the problem with us having £100 million is we're not really good at spending £100 million. So, I'm kind of worried that we'll just go out and buy 7 also-rans and, that'll be the end of the money. But, maybe we've got a better setup now. Maybe we'll actually find some players who can actually do something. But it's not just about the money. I mean, you've got to have the player, A, that you need available, B, that you can get for the right amount of money from the club, whether you got money or not. You don't want to pay over the odds for someone. And C, then you've got the whole kind of salary package as well, because I think that we're still in a framework around our salaries. It's probably better than it used to be, but I still think that we have a ceiling there, which some other clubs are just going to be able to blow through. So whether it turns into actual transfers or not is really wait and see, isn't it?
Well, we're certainly linked with enough players to spend £100 million about 5 times over. So, I like this. Dave Bolton, cut to the chase, call up where his Wink's going, and are you driving him to Everton? Absolutely. I would drive him to Everton first class. Yeah, I mean, it's only been 10 days, since we signed, officially signed anyone.
That feels like so long ago, though. It feels like we signed Basuma months ago.
Well, this is where I'm getting to with it, Shan. So, in any other time, we'd be delirious with excitement, but for some reason, some of the fans are a little bit impatient. Social media is full of Spurs fans panicking. Is this justified, John?
I think it's weird, isn't it? Any other year, we wouldn't have signed anybody yet, and we've signed 3, I think, pretty good players. I think part of the problem is that cable came very quickly, and the other part is that them down the road seem to be doing business. So people are getting a bit itchy feet, thinking that we're losing out of the likes of Jesus when I don't think we ever really wanted him. I think he was the only place he was going to go was Arsenal. I think we just got to be calm. the fact that 100 million has been put into the accounts now would suggest something's going to happen. And I think, obviously, we're going to talk about Everton players, but given that the financial year ends in 3 days, they need some money very quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens before Friday's show.
Paul, social media has a meltdown every time, you know, Arsenal signs someone. Are you jealous that they've got Jesus? Sorry, I missed you that.
So every 15 minutes, social media has a meltdown. It's Gabriel Jesus, and I wouldn't want him, mate.
Arsenal need more than Jesus to do well anyway.
They do.
Is it ironic that they've signed Jesus? The club that signed Judas have signed Jesus.
Definitely.
No, look, there's a few players out there that you go, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Spurs shirt. But unless we can actually find someone who's going to make the squad better, then why would we be rushing into it? I think that people have just got to chill out a little. The 3 players we've signed make our squad better. And we could go and sign, you know, the bloke from Newcastle we'll talk about, the bloke from Everton we'll talk about, and I don't think they necessarily make our squad better. I think that some of the energy that we have should be focused on retaining some of the players that, you know, are looking to leave. Like Harry Winks, obviously.
Oh, my God. I can't get excited over signing Richarlison, but if Winks goes the other way as part of this deal, I'll be very excited indeed, just because he's gone. It's a bit like when we got Brian Hill, who's done nothing, literally nothing of note whatsoever in a Spurs shirt, but he did rid us of Lamella. So, you know, it's not all doom and gloom. And Lamella gave me lots of joy, but at the same time, Christ, he was injured a lot, wasn't he? What do you think then about these 2 players we've been linked with? You know, Richarlison, with the links today are Richarlison and Gordon. But then I've also seen this, and no, actually, let's do it this way. Firstly, do you want those 2 players? Shan, lead us off.
I personally, if it was going to be between Rafinha and Richarlison, I'd rather we signed Richarlison just because he's more flexible and can cover the whole front 3, whereas I feel like Rafinha is probably not quite as flexible. His goal return in a poor Everton team with not a lot of service was pretty good. It was 1 in 3. And I just think Mane had a similar return when he was at Southampton, went to a better team with better service and became world class. At a similar age, I think there's no reason why Richarlison can't do that at Spurs with better players around him. So that, and I think it's 2 less yellow cards for Romero in a season if Richarlison is actually on the same team as him. Gordon, I think, is a bright young prospect. Obviously, he's homegrown, hungry, will work hard, talented, he's quick. Maybe a long-term Sonny successor. Don't know if he's that good, but maybe the club could see him as potentially being that. I don't think he makes our squad any worse. And if Harry Winks is going the other way, for Gordon to come to us, Gordon's definitely the better player and will be of more use.
Paul, Gordon's
a quick answer or a long answer?
Gordon's alive.
I'm not interested in Richarlison at all. I'd rather we kept Steve Bergwijn than signed Richarlison. I don't think that he's. When he was at Watford, he was someone that, you know, I would have been interested in, but I just don't think that he does it. I don't think that he's the right player to come in and cover that forward line. No. I'd rather keep Steven Bergwijn. As for Gordon, yeah, he's a prospect. Absolutely, he's a prospect. But is he going to turn into anything that's better than what we have? Really not sure about that. And I think that we have to, everything that we do has to be about making the squad better. And if it's not, we shouldn't even be talking about it.
I think those 2 players do make our squad better, though.
How is Richarlison a better option than Bergwijn?
He's better than Mora, and Bergwijn wants to leave.
Yeah, but he's not going to play on the right-hand side. He's going to be the same. It's going to be the same place where he's a Son replacement or a Kane replacement, which is what Bergwijn's. Or Richarlison's not going to come and sit on the bench.
Because he can play across the whole 3, he can cover any of those 3 positions.
But he's not. He very rarely plays on the right because it's not where he's at his best. So he's not going to do that. Conte is not going to bring someone in to play in a position that they're kind of okay at. You know, if you're not great at that position, you're not going to play it. Which is why Bergwijn doesn't play on the right, because Conte looks at him and goes, "Yeah, you're okay there, but you know, You're not better than Moura on the right. And Richarlison's going to be the same, and he's a worse option than Bergwijn.
His goal return is a lot better than Bergwijn, though.
His what?
His goal return is a lot better than Bergwijn's.
How the hell is Bergwijn scored 3 goals after playing for 20 minutes this season?
But he hasn't done anything else. He hasn't done anything other than that. His City goal and those 2 goals at Leicester are pretty much all he's done in a Spurs shirt. Richarlison scored 1 in 3 in a really bad Everton side this season. Like a really, really bad Everton side this season.
Yeah, really, really bad Everton side. But he played almost every minute.
I don't think he did. I don't know exactly how many games he played, but I don't think he played in every game.
Well, look, I'm sure that HG, who's sitting there in the boxes, knows exactly how many minutes he played and exactly what his XG was.
He's Googling it now.
Bergwijn, the time that he played was, for me, streets ahead of where Richarlison is. And if he had more game time, then I think you'd see the numbers stack up. So for me, I'd rather hold on to Bergwijn than sign Richarlison.
I don't think that Conte rates Bergwijn enough, because he gave him that one start at Chelsea where he did pretty well at Stamford Bridge, but I just don't. He's given him 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. He obviously just doesn't trust him enough. And if Bergwijn wants to go, I think the time has to come.
If you look at Son when he plays, even when he's having a bad game, all of a sudden something brilliant will come from him. So you look at that and you go, how can I not play him? So unless he's knackered or injured, whoever it is that comes in is not going to be on the field. Our saving grace this season is that we're going to be in a lot of competitions, and that there's going to be, there's going to be a need to play essentially second string attack in some of them. Kane can't play every minute. Son can't play every minute. So we need to have a backup that's good enough to be able to step into those shoes. I think Bergwijn is good enough. I don't know.
Rotation. Surely what we need, guys, is someone who the boss trusts to rotate. That's the truth of it, because Sonny can't play every single minute, and Richarlison, I suppose, covers certainly wide left. Can he play up front? Do you think, Paul?
He can, but he's not an out and out number 9. I mean, it will be more of a kind of running in behind from the central position. He's not going to be a target.
He plays for Brazil, though. He plays up front for Brazil, and he does really well. He starts ahead of Jesus for Brazil in that position, so he can't be that bad.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's just not the right one for me. And I think that one of the things that often we do, and people on Twitter do, is they go straight to the good or bad player. And it's not about being good or bad. It's about having the right fit for the system that you're going to play. And I don't think Richarlison is the right fit. So I don't think that he'll do well.
I do. I think he's got a good work ethic on the pitch, which Conte likes. He's got that South American attitude that Conte likes. He wants to win. He wants to win. You saw how frustrated he was at Everton last season because they were shite. He wants to win at all costs. He's got that winning mentality. I think he would do well. And you've got to remember what Conte does to players. I think if Conte wants him and Richarlison's his number 1 target, which it seems he is, we've got to believe that Conte knows the profiles of the players that will fit the best in his system.
So I just saw Craig's comment come up saying that Bergwijn's had his chances and Jose gave him a good run in the side. Nobody was going to do well in that side. There was no attacking thought in that side other than boot the ball long to Kane. It's not. Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. I can't agree with you on that. That's not a chance to play your type of football. That's the same things I'm saying about Richarlison. It's about systems and about how we play. That system is never going to suit Bergwijn. The system we play now with Conte does suit Bergwijn.
Only suits him down the left, though, doesn't it?
Well, according to Conte, I mean, I've not seen him playing on the right in the Conte system. So Conte has decided that's where he's going to be. He's going to be on that left side or coming into the middle. And that's the quandary. If he stays, he's probably going to get more game time because of the Champions League and the other competitions that we're in. but he's got to decide whether he can stick that out or whether he wants to go.
John, do you think, because you're very quiet over there, well done for not interrupting, so polite. Do you think that Richarlison is favourable to bringing in Rafinha, say? Because it looks like Arsenal are moving in on him, another Spurs target, or so you read, or if you believe what you read. Who would you take out the two, and why are we favouring Richarlison?
So, similar to what Shan said, I would love Rafinha. He is a brilliant player, but he's very, from what I've seen, he pretty much only plays on the right. So it would have to be rotation with Kulu if we bought him. Do you want to spend £65 million on a player who's just a rotation player? I'd love to get to that point because that's where Man City are at, where they can go and spend big bucks for somebody who's going to play half the games. But we're not there yet. Richarlison can play those, definitely left and central. I think Bergwijn's head has gone. Even if Conte says, I'm going to play you more, I think Bergwijn just wants to go, whatever. I would prefer Rafinha as a Tottenham player, but for the system, Richarlison makes more sense. And he's going to be probably 20 million cheaper, realistically. Would he be my preferred choice? Probably not. There's probably other strikers out there I'd prefer to have at the club, but I can see the benefit of signing him. He can cover the left side. He does love a bit of shithousery, which we love that. We like Romero. Obviously, we've missed a bit up front with since your beloved Lamella's left. But yeah, I mean, if Conte wants him, I'm still very much this line. If Conte wants him and he thinks it's going to work in the system, there were certain games that Richarlison was awful. He'd dive, but then some games he was unbelievable when he's on it. And if any man's going to get somebody on it, it's going to be Conte. He worked so hard and was brilliant. So if we do sign him, we just have to hope that Conte can get him motivated up to the right level.
I mean, this is the question for me. I think this is a very good point. If Kane is out with a long-term injury, do we think Richarlison is a good enough backup? Because ultimately, at some point, it's going to happen, isn't it? Kane's going to get his ankle gone again. It hasn't happened in the last 2 seasons, so hopefully those days are behind us. But the realist in me says they're playing an awful lot of football. The World Cup to come. To me, the high risk of injury means you need a striker to cover, and I'm just wondering, John, just sticking with you, Richarlison, can he lead the line? Rafinha, can he lead the line, or do we need someone completely different?
Rafinha isn't a number 9. He's a 10, or mainly a right winger. Richarlison can play that role. He did play that role a lot for Everton last season and has done in the past. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin was out for a long time. I think it's not his preferred. He'd prefer to be playing just off the striker, but he can do it ultimately. But I don't know who else is there. Who would you think, caller, that we could sign striker-wise?
I don't know, to be honest. Depends. There's no one. There's no one that sticks out like Harry Kane, is there? That's going to come to us for.
We're not going to get another. We're not going to get another Harry Kane while Harry Kane's at our club. This is the thing, and I think if you're looking at players that aren't going to play every game, like I've seen people say, "Oh, we should sign Neymar." Neymar ain't going to come to Spurs to sit on our bench. Are you having a laugh? He's not going to play ahead of Son. So we've got to be realistic, and I think Richarlison can fill that gap. He did it for Everton. We know he can score goals. He scored important goals for Everton as well, pretty much along with Pickford, made sure they stayed up last season.
Yeah.
So we know he's got it in him. We know he can do it in the Prem. And he's playing alongside better players. If you've got Kulu, Son, Perisic feeding him the ball, he's going to get more chances. He's going to put more away.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting. This one is going to be really interesting because everyone thinks it's down to these sort of couple of players, Richarlison, Rafinha. But it might
There's
be
also Zaniolo in the mix as well. From Roma. Roma wants a shot of him. Yeah. He's someone that's been mentioned a few times. But I think in terms of the striking situation, what we've done for the past few years, we'll continue to do. That if Kane is out, Son will go into that area. Plays that area really well. And I don't think that any of the players that we've mentioned could play as a striker as well as Son, let alone as well as Kane. So it's going to be more, who do you bring in to replace Son when he has to move in up front?
I suppose, and that's the question. Well, like I go back to, it's rotation. They're going to be playing so many games. They've got to have someone confident that can come in a Premier League game and stick Son on the bench and give him a rest, or stick Kane on the bench and give him a rest. You've got to have the squad to be able to rotate the players, and we just haven't got that right now. Son and Kane have to play every single game, which just ain't feasible, is it?
The other thing is
striking to see what Parrott does pre-season. He's come off the back of a really successful loan.
In League One.
Any of the interviews in League One, but if you read any of the interviews that he's done recently, he's learnt a lot from that loan. I think it'd be interesting to see what he does pre-season. He may not be quite ready, but then was Kane quite ready when he came into the squad? I think so.
It's all gone very quiet. I can see Matt Gibbons in the chat mentioning Dybala. It's all gone very quiet with Dybala. It looked like he was going to Inter, but that all seems to have died a little bit of a death. Potentially, that could be in the mix. You never know. And he is class.
He is class, but he's not a number 9, is he? He's a 10. So you'd be looking again him to be rotating with Son and Kulu. I guess he could play the odd game, the same as Son up front. But I'm just thinking from a Premier League point of view, you need someone with experience. And one thing we've always moaned about is, like when we sold Bale, we signed 7 players from outside the British Isles, didn't we? Bringing in players with Premier League experience makes sense. You need to mix it up. Perisic obviously coming from Italy. It's just class. We know that. But we've bought Basuma, guy with Premier League experience. I think it's just getting a good balance. I'm not over the moon about Richarlison, but at the moment, given the choice between not signing a striker, which we've done year on year, I'd rather take him. Now, it might be that someone else comes out of left field. I'd love to see Bergwijn get a run, but Conte just...
Bergwijn's gone. Bergwijn's gone. There's no point talking about Bergwijn. We may as well announce it as the here we go.
This is a very good point from Brad. Conte isn't looking for superstar names, but a superstar mindset. It's all about profile of player, not the name. Because we've bought names before in Ndombele and it didn't work. It crashed, it burned, and crashed again. So...
Yeah, I agree.
It's also about the right player for the right position. And, Ndombele, when he had his season at Lyon, his standout season, was in exactly the right place, doing exactly the right things, and looked like a world beater. When he came into a club where he was asked to do something different, the guy couldn't get his head around it. And when he was asked to work really hard under the Mourinho sort of system and be defensive, he couldn't get his head around that. And then he goes into another system with Conte and he can't get his head around that. So, the guy is, I'm not going to say he's a one-trick pony, but he fits a particular system really, really well and can play outstanding in that particular system. And if we're looking for players that are going to come in and make a difference, then they have to be able to play outstandingly well in the system that Conte's putting together.
Absolutely. 160 people watching, 50 likes. So please, if you're watching and you're enjoying what you're watching, please do smash the like button. We'd really appreciate you hitting that like button for us tonight. Look, I think just drawing a line on the whole Richarlison thing, it looks like we are genuinely interested. I think what's more exciting is that Harry Winks could go the other way. He will rid me of this Winks. Isn't it just
Holly's crying? Holly's crying in the comments, I think.
I've got to be honest. What is weird about Everton is that they just seem to buy all our shit, don't they?
It's always a club.
Sunderland
did it. Portsmouth did it.
Oh, I can't listen to you banging on about him again and again and again. This is a player who, when he first came into the side, was absolutely amazing in a system that suited him. And it worked brilliantly. He played outstanding against Real and Barcelona. You don't do that if you're shit, mate.
Yes, he's still dining out on it.
Yes, the knee injury cost him and he became slower. He needs to find somewhere where he would fit better than he fits with us, because he doesn't fit in what we've tried to do through the last 2 managers. So it's not about the play. You can't turn around and say a player's shit. He's got more football talent in his little toe than everyone in the comments. So
you haven't seen me on a Tuesday night. I'm tearing it up tomorrow,
mate. I don't need to. I don't need to see that stuff wobbling around. But you got to remember, he's a very, very talented player. He's just not fitting in what we need him to do. So stop banging on about the player being shit and bang on about the system not suiting him, because that's where the truth is. I agree. He needs to move for himself, but he needs to move somewhere where he can play the football that he's good at, and that's not us.
I'm still waiting for Caller to volley a teabag into a cup as well, seeing as he claims he could do better than Winks. I'm yet to see it.
I'm going to do it the day he leaves.
He's going to volley his jockstrap into a cup. That's something we all
see that. Paul, can I ask a question? Do you think the injuries have affected Winks, though? I honestly think he's never been the same since that injury at Burnley when he went over his ankle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he was on a really, I think it was a really kind of pivotal point in his growth at that point. And I think that robbed him of a good 6 months of where he, would have continued on that upward trajectory. And then after that, all the systems around him started changing, and he was trying to relearn stuff with a knee that he really wasn't happy with. And I think it's only really last year that looks like he's more comfortable when he's moving. So I think it's taken him a long, long time to get over that injury. And honestly, I think that in some ways he would be better taking a step down into the Championship. And I think that he'd find his feet a bit better there.
It's definitely his level.
It's not his level. Go and fuck yourself. It's about in a system.
You will have your opinion on it. I will have mine. I just don't.
You'll have your opinion on it, and I'll be right.
Well, in your opinion. Volley an ice cube into GNC Caller, it's more you. Yeah, I'll do that. Look, Winks is, don't get me wrong, he did have a couple of good games in a side that was playing a different system and high in confidence. But part of being a good player is you've got to adapt. You can't just be a one-system player. That's what's happened to Dele Alli. Dele Alli is a one-system player. He's a one-trick pony. Oddly enough, he's signed for a club that don't play his system whatsoever. Look, I hope it works out for Harry Winks, but I hope it works out for him far away from Spurs, because he just isn't good enough to be a regular in a top 4 side. That is my opinion.
He won't be at Spurs come September the 2nd.
Absolutely not. No, he needs to leave for his own career. You're absolutely right. He does need to leave for his own career.
I do think with Winks, we have to be respectful and show him respect, though, for everything he's given to the club since he was 7, 8 years old. For all his lack of talent, as Caller would put it, he's put in a lot of shifts. He's done well. He was a big part of our Champions League run, and he's done a lot for the club. He loves the club. He's a boyhood Spurs fan, and I think he deserves a lot more respect than he's getting from Spurs fans at the minute. I think some of the things I'm seeing about Winks at the minute online are absolutely appalling. Yes, I don't think he's good enough to play for Spurs, but that doesn't mean we should disrespect him the way that people do.
Yeah,
coming from Caller.
No, I've always been nice about him, actually. In all seriousness, I have. I just because I don't think someone's a good enough footballer to play for Tottenham Hotspur, the team I love, doesn't mean that I dislike him. I've got nothing against him personally. I don't make it personal. I just don't think he's good enough. That's it. Just don't think he's good enough. Yeah. Let's talk about some other names. This one made me giggle. St. Maximum. I don't think there's any legs in this, right? St. Maximum from Newcastle, obviously. He's probably their best player, second best player. But it's surely unlikely he's going to end up at Spurs, isn't it, Shan? I mean, he's a fantastic talent. I believe he might have a release clause, which is where all these noises are coming from. But why would you leave the billionaire Saudi boys?
It's not just that. I'd love to see him in a Spurs shirt or in Spurs teams of old, but I think he's another one that wouldn't really suit the Conte system, because he likes to he's one of these flair players that, like with Conte, every pattern of play is very rehearsed and he wants you to do what he wants you to do. Whereas with St. Maximin, I think everything he does is very much off the cuff, and he goes a bit rogue and just wants to do what he wants to do. So I don't know how well he'd suit our style of play, although he is. That's being said, I love Alan St. Maximin. He's a great player, But yeah, I don't see why you'd leave Newcastle. They're doing some really decent business at the minute, and he's clearly loved up there. The only reason I could think of is Champions League football, but I don't think Newcastle, if they keep going the way they are that far away from it or leave challenging. So it's one of those, but I don't think he'd suit our system.
Yeah. I mean, he's a flair player, isn't he, Paul? You'd surely like to see him reminisce about Ginola and that ilk of player, flair player, got all the tricks up his sleeve, makes people look silly. He's
I don't know. Were you at the Lane when Ginola was playing?
Yeah,
because I was there like for a couple of seasons, every game he was playing, and every time he picked up the ball, the whole place lifted. But that was because around him there was utter toilet.
Yeah.
So Ginola was the only like beautiful thing in a total team of turgid turds. So it was something that
beautiful man as well. Beautiful man as well.
Beautiful man. Oh, I'd jump the fence for him, would you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, John? Are you in 4-way? The three of us in Ginola?
There's definitely a
love. Sorry.
All over it, babe.
But Alisson Maximan, yeah, he's a flair player, but I really don't see him working in what we're doing. I mean, I think he is too maverick. I think that he goes missing a lot, and you can't see him tracking back to help Emerson out, can you?
No, Emerson won't be there. Come on.
Why are you not there? What is wrong with you? You are an idiot, and that's just not going to work.
He plays on the left as well, so it'd be Perisic, wouldn't it?
Whatever.
Yeah. He did destroy the Goons, though, Paul. He absolutely destroyed the Goons.
Is that what we're going to do? We're going to sign. We're just going to sign. We're just going to sign players who destroyed the Goons. Is that our way forward now? Basuma and
why not? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, it's an interesting way. It's an interesting way of looking at it, but it's not going to help.
Caller, you seem to have avoided my comment.
I didn't hear it. I
said so did Jed Spence, but you don't want him, so.
Jed Spence. Look, I mean, I'd be interested to hear what Paul says because I haven't spoken to him about this. So, Jed Spence is.
Well, first thing I'd say about Jed Spence is I would like him to spell his name correctly. It really irritates me. All these stupid names. Anyway, look, he's a fine prospect. Definitely had a great season at Forest. Really, really good prospect. But he's not going to come in and be the number one right back.
No. And I was listening to someone else the other day who's supposed to be a bit of an in the know, and he was saying that Conte really rates Doherty, which is more than a lot of Spurs fans do. But I've always stuck up for Doherty, actually, because I think if you play him in the wing-back role, he will get into that final third and he can do a lot of damage, as he showed last season. But I was interested by that comment, and it got me thinking maybe there's something in it, because we don't really seem to be pursuing a superstar right wing-back, do we?
But that's coming back to what we were saying earlier about the right system for the right player. Emerson was really struggling playing as a wing-back in the Conte system because he's a right-back. And whilst they're essentially start in the same place on the pitch, it's totally different the way that you're asked to move, the way that you're asked to run, the way that you're asked to play, where you're supposed to be when this happens. It's totally different. And Emerson is slowly getting to the point where he's kind of understanding that. Doherty, on the other hand, when he was asked to play as a right-back, was woeful. And we all would have got rid of him in a heartbeat. And then when he's got into the Conte system, playing as either a right or left wing back, he's shown where his abilities are, and it's made a big difference.
Yeah,
I still think this is going to be first choice. It's interesting. I don't see it myself, but I'm happy to be proven wrong.
No, I don't see it myself at all.
I think, to be fair, Caller, I think Spurs fans have turned around with Doherty. They have, because was very good, wasn't it? And you did keep going on because your dad had bullied you into that Doherty was a good player.
Look, you don't need to have some sixth sense about football, some great intuition to realise that what Doherty did at Wolves, he could replicate at Spurs if you put him in the similar situation that he was playing in at Wolves, which is playing high up the pitch on the right hand side and have plenty of support behind him. Because he is a really attacking right wing back.
Do you know also the difference? He had someone like Bentancur who could pass the ball to him.
Yeah,
he came in. Because his form went up when Bentancur signed.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you've got Kulusevski ahead now as well. So he's got quality surrounding him, but equally, he didn't necessarily always have that quality at Wolves. Let's be honest. So I mean, that's half the argument. He is great in the final third. He's really good in the final third. It's just we never put him in the final third. We played him Mourinho played him at flat back 4, which is just bonkers. Frankly, bonkers.
I think with Doherty, if you've seen his scouting report as well, he's in the top percentile for pretty much everything you want in a good or a top quality right wing back. And he did prove it. But I honestly, when he got that injury at Villa, thanks Matty Cash, absolute arsehole. I was gutted. I thought that was our season over. That's how much of an impact Matt Doherty had or was having in that time at that part of the season. And I actually think leading on from that, Emerson stepped up really, really well when Doherty did go out and did get injured, and he was doing a lot better. I think partly because he could defend more and Kulusevski was further up the pitch, but I thought he played really, really well against Liverpool. That was his best performance by far in a Spurs shirt, and I think he really took that opportunity. I wouldn't be so sad if Emerson is still at the club next season. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. If he learned to cross the ball, he'd be quality.
Paul, and he's got. I tell you what, you talk about character and mentality. Emerson's definitely got both of those right, hasn't he? In my view, from all the stuff I see on social media, him playing 5-a-side with people in Brazil in the down season, etc., etc. Whilst I get a beer, give us your view on Emerson Royal and should he remain at the club, would you, Paul? Because I've not heard yours and I'm genuinely interested.
Before I get to that,
I can hear you from the beer pump.
Right. Okay. So you don't want me to talk about the fact that no, we won't. There was an interesting comment in the chat there from Phil, who said that Spence is not going to go to a club unless he's going to be in the starting 11. I don't think that if you're coming to a club like Spurs, you can demand that you're going to be, thank you for whoever did that. Yeah, I can't do that shit. But if you're going to a club like Spurs, you can't demand that you're going to be in the first 11 because that's entirely the wrong attitude to come into a club like Spurs with. I think that if you go back to what Pochettino said, you're paid to train, and if you're good enough, you'll play in the first 11. And I think that you have to have that kind of mentality, and I'm fairly sure that Conte will be the same. Royal has done that. So when he's been struggling, he's turned up, he's trained, he's applied himself, he's learned the things that Conte wants him to learn. So when he's had to come into the team to replace Doherty after the injury, then he's done really well. Is he perfect for a right wing back? No, he doesn't have all the attributes that you need, but he's certainly a bloody good backup. And I don't know that I want to see him go. I think that he's young, and I think there's still more development to come from him. And I think that he can grow into that role really well. Mike, thank you, whoever's sharing Mike's comment, because he does need another season to prove himself. He is improving in that role. He is learning what's essentially a new role to him, and I think he's done pretty well. I mean, I don't think that any of us would have been unhappy with his performances at the end of last season.
I think he was 23 when he signed, weren't he? So he's 24 now?
Yeah.
No, he turned
That's generally what happens. You age 1 year at a time.
His first season,
he turned 23 January.
So he's 23 now. So his first season.
So he's not young before you
a country learning a new language, a completely different type of football to in Spain, more physical, fast pace. He had all of that to get used to. He was sort of given a bit of a baptism of fire. It was his first start against Palace in the 3-0 loss at Palace, I think. So, he didn't have it easy last season. And I do think he started to come into his own sort of when Doherty got injured. And he played really, really well. He pocketed like the Liverpool attack. Like they did nothing. Like he did really well. He did really well against Arsenal. Like in those last games, I couldn't fault Emerson at all. And I need another season of his what are they called?
Highlight reel.
Yeah.
His compilation.
I need the Emerson compilations, and with Champions League, it'll be twice a week. Imagine Emerson compilations twice a week. What more could you want? And I think he's still got, he like we say, 23, he's still got a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Emerson was bought for Nuno's system, and he's ended up having to try and fit in round Conte's, hasn't he? So it's you talk about systems, Paul. It's tough on a guy when he's been bought to play as a fullback and he ends up playing as a wing back.
Absolutely, but he's learning the role, because you've only got to look at the performances that he had at the end of last season, and he's shown that he can learn that role. And like I said, while you were off filling your pint glass, you know,
bit of Beaver Town.
Right. Okay. That's a very, very. That looks like it's Daisy's glass, mate. Are you drinking beer out of Daisy's glass?
It's a pint glass. Look at the size of it compared to mine.
It does look like it's Daisy's, though. To be fair,
it's a Beaver Town glass. To be fair,
this is how they are, Paul. This is
right. Yeah. Well, look, you know, I've not had the privilege of going to Beaver Town, so well, not that one anyway. So I'm looking forward to trying it. Look, I really think that he's been growing into the wing back role, and I think he'll continue to do it. And it would be a real shame to offload him now.
Okay. Well, let's talk centre backs because again, there's been news on this. So today, Lenglet, I'm told reliably told it's pronounced. I tried to pronounce Lenglet, which I think sounds far better, but Lenglet. And then Paul had to ask me when was the last time he had a long lay, which we'll move on from. But Barcelona on loan, according to Spanish press, it's a done deal. How much do you know about Mr. Lenglet, Shan? And what do you think of that? I mean, it's certainly not the left centre back we initially thought we were getting.
I'm not going to lie. I've not watched Barcelona at all last season, so I don't know anything.
Well, he only played 23 times from last season, and I think 7 starts. So, he wasn't first choice. But what I would say is he's a French international, and prior to last season, he was their regular centre back star.
I think he's quite young, isn't he? Got quite a bit of promise, like rated
27.
Yeah,
he's a mature player,
young for a centre back, like a decent one anyway.
Young compared to us, you mean?
Yeah, he's my age. That's young. I really don't know anything about him, so I'm not going to sit here and say that but if Conte said I want him, let's bring him in, then I'm happy he's coming.
Where does he fit in across the back?
He's a left-footed.
Daddy Davies' spot, isn't it?
And I'm happy with Daddy Davies. If he's competition for Davies and he's going to be used as rotation, I'm happy with Daddy Davies. He did really well last season. I think it's unfair for people. What we conceded, 5 goals in our last 10 games, was it? Something like that.
It's really unfair that people are slating Davies and saying he's not good enough, because he quite clearly demonstrated at times last season he was very good.
Phenomenal. When he played against Ukraine for Wales, he was absolutely amazing. Ben Davies is a revelation in that left centre back role, and he can go out and play left wing back when we need him to. If anybody's calling for Davies to go, then they're mental. But, you know, if Lenglet's going to come in and be that backup that he needs, so that Davies hasn't got to play every game, you know, I'd be good with that. I was kind of hoping that Roden might grow into that role, but I just don't think that he's necessarily suited to the left of a 3. And I don't think that Conte really rates him enough, which is a shame, because I think he's a really good centre back.
We need to congratulate Daddy Davies on getting married. Although it looks like he got married in April, but it only came out recently.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, yeah. His wife, or someone's, I think it's his wife, has put underneath the picture on Instagram, 24th or 26th of the 4th.
Oh, right.
22 on it. So do you remember that game? You know, he kept blocking stuff loads. He got one in the
he got one in the nuts.
Yeah. Do you reckon that was just after he had his little snip?
Well, he's converted, hasn't he? So, you know, he is now Jewish. So we actually have a Jewish player for the first time in a long time.
Since Ronnie Rosenthal.
Is it since Ronnie Rosenthal? Okay.
I think that's what Aviva said. Yeah.
Get the Aviva deal on Wednesday night. She's on the show. Yeah, I mean, look, Lenglet. as King Hoddle says, 160 games for Barcelona is still only 27. There must be something there. He was once rated incredibly highly, Paul. So my question to you is, French international, Barcelona left centre back, probably a higher ceiling than Davis. Would that be fair to say?
I don't know where Davis' ceiling is, to be honest with you. I mean, we all thought that he was, when he played as left back, he was fairly average, did a decent enough job, nothing spectacular, never really had a complaint about him, but was never outstanding. Moves into the left side next to Dyer, and you go, hey, he's getting better and better and better. And I think he got better and better all season. And who knows where he can go. Lenglet I've not seen enough of, but, you're right. French international, Barcelona centre-back, he's got to be all right. I just don't know how all right that is or whether he's got a higher ceiling than Davis. I quite like Davis. I don't want to see him out the side. I think that we've got a really, really strong back three, and I don't really want to see that change.
You've got to surely have rotation options, haven't you? Because I don't think we've got full confidence in Sanchez. I mean, I was in the stadium, Arsenal Spurs, as I know, lots of people watching this broadcast will have been. And in the lead up to that game, we heard whispers that Romero was out. And then honestly, the fear in the stadium when they heard Sanchez was playing, like there were people who did a complete 180.
But again, Sanchez was brilliant in the last 3 games.
Sanchez was brilliant in the last 3 games, but
and I think that Sanchez is, well, when he first came to the club and he played between Alderweireld and Vertonghen, he looked amazing in that central role. I mean, to be fair, I think that you'd look amazing in that central role between those two as well. But I thought that he did really, really well. And it was when he moved out to play on the right side, essentially on his own, that he got hung out to dry a lot. So the back three suits him far better. He can play on the right-hand side or the centre. He's another one that I think has improved significantly under Conte, and it's probably not someone that we want to see moved on. For me, anyway, there's probably a lot of people that are going to say, Super Dave Sanchez needs to go. But for me, I think that he's a really, really good option to back up both Romero and Dyer. We're all worried if Dyer gets injured.
I'd put Rodon ahead of him personally. I think Rodon's a better centre-back.
I don't disagree, but Conte does.
I think Rodon will be gone this summer.
From what I've seen, he won't be. I think Sanchez is more likely to move out than Rodon. But we shall see. We shall absolutely see what happens. I think. I think Rodon's been a bit unlucky. But if you look at what was happening at the end of the season, Rodon was coming on as a sub, which bodes a bit better for him. Sanchez is just too mistake prone. He's proven that throughout his Spurs career, and that's not going to change just because the manager's changed.
I think that's down to the system, though, mate. I think that when he was playing on that right hand side on his own with a right back that was pushing forward, he was very easily exposed. He'd go in to try and make the challenge to cover the right back, and that's where he got caught out again and again and again. And in this system with the three, he can go out there now knowing full well that there's someone to cover him.
To be fair to this, Sanchez was playing on the left of a free, and he did in one of the Chelsea games as well. There were so many I lost count, and he is awful on the left of a free. I'd never, ever, ever want to see him on the left of a free again. But when he's played in the middle or on the right, like Paul said, he's done okay last season. I can't remember him making any high-profile mistakes when he was in the centre or on the right. It was when he was playing on the left that he had his absolute donkey moment. Yeah.
He was far improved this season. The longer time he spent under Conte, he got better and better, to be fair.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I don't really fancy Sanchez or Rodon as backups. I'd like us to sign a couple of centre-backs. I really would. What we're looking for, though, is people that are going to elevate the squad. And going back to Lenglet or Lenglet, he's obviously an upgrade, isn't he? On Davis, you would say, given his pedigree, Barcelona, Spain international, you would have to say he probably is an upgrade on Davis. So for him to come in the squad and compete with Davis, or rotate with Davis, that's got to be a benefit. And if it's a loan, that again releases more funds to focus on different positions, doesn't it?
I was going to ask if Lenglet was where you drive around and look at the Lions, but I think that's shut, isn't it?
That's Longleat, isn't it?
Longleat, that is, Paul. Christ,
It's still open.
not
It's
been in
still
the
open.
UK for a long time, you haven't. Yeah. Yes. Go on, this.
He signed a new contract apparently today.
Has he? Is that actually confirmed?
Well, it's the Daily Mail, so you never know. But a £43 million buyout clause.
Is that it? Oh, get him then.
Yeah, we got money in the bank to do it. Yeah.
No, 43 million. He's quality, isn't he? Everything I hear about this guy is good.
But how does he fit in how Conte wants to play?
Centre back.
He's a left-footed centre back, and a very good one at that. I'd rather have Vardiol than Lenglet, but that's just because I've heard more about him or seen more of him.
Yeah, I think most people would rather have Vardiol than Lenglet because Vardiol is playing at the peak of his powers at Leipzig, whereas Lenglet is on the bench at Barca, and they're looking to get shot. So I think that's the obvious comparison. But 43 million release clause, that's a lot less than I thought it'd be, John.
Yeah, well, it's a Daily Mail, as I say, so it could well be wrong.
So it's
I didn't realize he's only 20 as well, which is amazing. So leave you like sick on a 6-year contract.
Oh, there you go. That's the answer.
Okay. Summer. So you got to wait till next summer.
Yeah.
Can someone share Ryan Dean's comment, please?
Who? Sorry,
Ryan Dean. Can we share that?
I think he's a done deal to Everton, isn't it? Just they can't announce him because of their problems at the moment.
He is announced.
Want him at Spurs?
No.
It's a bit donkeyish, isn't he?
I see no value in having someone like Tarkovsky. He's not going to play in the dire role. He's not going to be able to bring the ball out from defence. His passes are basically just hoofs. That's not a player that would improve what we do at all. I don't see him fitting into any kind of system that has put together. No.
Okay, so you'd rather have Vardiol?
What, than Tarkovsky? I'd rather have
That's not even. That isn't even.
It was for
if you did
comedic.
A poll, no one would vote Tarkovsky at all.
Good. Ndikia? A lot of people in the chat tonight saying just go get him. John.
Ndicka.
I mean, John, HG isn't wrong very often. I didn't say that, honestly.
No, he is. He really is. He just doesn't ever acknowledge when he's wrong.
But he has been going on about Ndicka for a long time, isn't he? Absolutely loves him. Yes. Oh, we'll say he's put something about Gvardiol here as well. If Leipzig had given Gvardiol a new deal like an Nkuku, any release clause will only be from next summer. Yeah. Okay.
We don't have a great record with players whose names start with N and then have another.
We really don't. No.
HG for the last 6 months because he wants Nkunku and Ndicka to come to Spurs. Yeah. And our track record isn't very good.
Yeah, leave the N anything at home.
They can be very, very good players. Come to Spurs, crash and burn, just because their last name begins with N.
Yeah, we've ruined them. If you see N, step away from it. Step away from it. Yeah.
That's the only reason we didn't sign in Jesus.
And Jesus.
Richarlison.
Huh?
In Richarlison, yeah, bugger him off as well.
Richarlison. I think this is a very fair point. Juve wanted rid of Bentancur and Kulusevski, and spent most of the time on the bench. Does this make Lenglet a bad player? Barca didn't think that when they bought him. It's true, isn't it?
But you played Kulu a lot more through the middle, and it wasn't really working out for him, and that's why he ended up going down on the bench. When Conte went, you're going to play on the right, that suited him far better. And, he's played far better because of it. So, again, it's coming back to how they fit into the system that the club's going to play. I think I've said that a lot today.
You have. You do keep banging on about a system. And Harry winks for some reason. There we go. Can break the Etna curse. Mark my words.
I like that, HG.
Declan Rice. Yeah, it's good. Elsewhere, we've got Klaus from a 29-year-old Lem, right back, who has 4 caps for France all this year. So tell us what you know about him, John. Baller?
Pretty much wrote what I knew about him in the run sheet, and you just read it out.
Is that it?
But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's 29, so he's an experienced player. It would be less of an issue for him to come in as a rotational right back than, say, Hakimi, that everyone was desperate for us to sign. But I can't see it happening, to be honest. I don't know why you'd bring him in and get rid of Emerson or Doherty, to be honest. But I haven't seen him play.
Well, Klaus, Paul, you a fan of that?
I just want to say I've not got the run sheet in front of me, but when I went to Google,
you don't like run sheets, that's why.
I know, but I only used one S, and it just gave me some doctor from Missouri, and I thought, well, that's probably not who we're looking at. But when I actually found him with the 2 S's, he's come from Bielefeld, which I'm sure HG, with his knowledge of the Bundesliga, will tell you are not a very good German side. So he's come there. He's only really broke through in London the last couple of years. And he's, like I said, 27. So I don't know. He's got 29. I don't know that he's got much more growth in him. Not really sure if he's a Conte type player. Don't really know where the rumours come from, but I mean, it's not for me. I mean, he's a good football.
Comes into his own apparently in the December months. He delivers.
Yeah, well, that's not going to help much because that's the World Cup time. So.
Not the end of December, it's not. That's all Christmas.
It'd be after the delivery time, wouldn't
it? Well, who knows? I don't think it's that old for a probably right back. Just to answer that, if he's good enough, we've just signed a 33-year-old left wing back, so I don't think it's a particular issue.
31 as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to be a push in that now. I think he was 29 when we signed him, wasn't he? So yeah, using my sham age calculator plus 2 years, that makes him 31.
I was wrong with Emerson. He was 23 when we signed him, so he's actually 23.
Okay. Longley
later sounds really seedy though.
Daddy Longley. That's a porn star name. It's absolutely a porn star name, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
Okay, let's talk about the cover boy. Gakpo from PSV. So he's been touted as a target for Leeds if they sell Rafinha. But that's very good, Mark. But Gakpo has also been linked with Spurs as well. So, John, what's your view on this? Is it just...
So I did extensive research, which meant I watched a 10-minute YouTube video of him.
That's what we all do.
To me, yeah, basically. To me, his stats, he's 18 months younger than Bergwijn. He basically plays the same position as Bergwijn, plays as the left winger.
In Bergwijn's former team.
In his former team. He would have played with Bergwijn as well. He's taller. He's 4 inches taller than Bergwijn. Got similar skills. What worries me is we don't have a great record signing players from the Dutch league apart from Vertonghen. So it would worry me a little bit. But then I guess Conte, he's got time to bring him in. I guess it just depends who else we sign. I don't know how much they'd want, but he'd effectively be replacing Bergwijn, wouldn't he? He'd be going to Ajax.
We're going to have to replace Bergwijn, though, aren't we? Surely it's Bergwijn plus one more attacker, you would imagine, presuming we do sell him. And everyone says we're just waiting for Ajax's end of year in order for it to go through. So, we've got to replace him plus one, in my opinion. Give us a couple of attacking options on the bench, plus Lucas Moura, who just won't go.
No, he loves Brendan too much.
I think the thing with Gakpo is we've got to remember he's playing alongside the only Vinicius. And that's not Vinny Jr. I'm talking about. I'm talking about Vinny Goal, the one we had on loan last season. So that's the level he's currently playing at. So, yeah, I don't know.
Bear that in mind, yeah. Paul?
I know the square root fuck all about him, if I'm honest. Right, but just for the benefit of everyone in the chat, I don't think we should sign him. I just don't think he's good enough.
Okay. Well, if Leeds have been linked with him, would you? Who would you want those two front men to be then, Paul? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because
I think it is really difficult, and I think that there's a.
Bergwijn, I know what you said earlier about Bergwijn. I will let you just talk and say what you want in a minute. But Bergwijn doesn't want to stay at Spurs. That deal is done. Like, he is gone to Ajax. So I appreciate everything you say about him, and to an extent, on a personal level, I agree with it. But he is gone. So what do we do? Where do we go with that?
I think that the challenge that we have is our strength. So the strength of having Son and Kane as two of the best forwards in the world is the real challenge in bringing someone else in, because whoever comes in has to be willing to be that understudy to both Kane and Son. That's Bergwijn's clearly not happy to do that. And it's the challenge is finding a player who's going to be good enough to step in when it's needed, but is happy to be that understudy. And if I'm honest, I don't know who that is. I've always wanted to see, it might be controversial, Marcus Edwards back in the Spurs shirt. I think that Marcus Edwards had immense talent. He's done pretty well since he's gone to Europe. He's at Sporting now. Yeah. So maybe a cheeky bid for Edwards. I could see that working out. He would come in with an understanding of the club, with an understanding of what it means to play for Spurs.
You've just lost all credibility.
Why?
Because Marcus Edwards is nowhere near Spurs' level right now.
He's only played 8 games for Sporting in a year, so
but he's one of those players that has a massive ceiling. He has a massive ceiling, and he
had his chance. He had his chance to impress.
His attitude was dog shit at the time. Would someone like Conte find that within him to pull that attitude back into line and turn him into what he should be? Because he should have come out of the academy being a world beater.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Well, exactly.
Similar to Harry Winks, really. He was the next Iniesta, weren't he?
No, don't get me started on that.
Winks' attitude never went to shit. So Winks' attitude has always been great. Whenever he's been asked to do anything, whether it's his skill set or not, he's gone out and done it. So you can never question his attitude. You can question how he's been applied, and that's why he struggled. I think that Edwards just was far too Billy Big Bollocks and went out there going, I am. And Pochettino probably didn't help with that at the time. He heaped a whole heap of plays on him, and he probably got ahead of himself. And had he been able to develop properly, he would have been an absolute outstanding player. You would have looked at him in the same light as you look at Sancho and players like that. So, it's never going to happen. And, you're right. He's not good enough now, but he should have been.
You sound like a dad who's disappointed with his child and sort of like...
disappointed in him. I am disappointed, but I'm disappointed in all of us.
Okay.
Well, as it stands, we've still got Jack Clark at the club, so maybe he could come in and fill a gap.
But he's another one that should have been, absolutely flying, and for whatever reason hasn't managed to do it.
Well, players don't always do that. They might have the wrong loan. They might have the wrong attitude, like you've touched on. The Premier League is so cutthroat. I mean, very, very, very few people make it, don't they? Let's be honest. Let's talk.
Thank you, George. I like my views as well.
I'm crap at saying names, so I'm going to say this. Next week, by the way, Mark. Next week, the wait is nearly over. By the way, go on.
Reggie put a picture up on Insta today. He's back.
Reggie on Doherty, Skip and Tanganga are all back today, I think.
They're all back early. Yeah. Reggie, by the way, there's absolutely no noise of him. That's not what I was going to say. We'll come back to him in a minute. But did you see the new training top they've got today? It's like fluorescent. It looks like the sort of thing when you're out running. You like it?
I really like it.
I've got to be honest. That kind of look only suits really thin runners who run like
You're
first thing
still
in the
going to buy
morning.
it, aren't you, Caller? And squeeze yourself
Absolutely.
into it.
I want to see it in the flesh. I want to see it.
Ready for
Luckily,
you.
I've not mentioned much, but I'm at Guns N' Roses this weekend.
Oh.
So maybe I'll pop in the club shop, have a little look. Got a bit of money burning a hole in my pocket. I might buy either the training top or the new shirt. But there's a fluorescent theme going on, isn't there? Fluorescent little.
It's horrible. Why? That horrible It's like a bloody high vis workman's shirt.
I'll tell you why. Paul.
At least
Because
I'll be
that
able to
shirt
see them
is
on
going to
my
be
school.
iconic because this is going to be the best season we've had in years.
Yeah, I said that about the one with the tie marks across the front. It was going to be iconic.
Well, that one, it's up there.
Yeah, can't see it, mate.
The best thing about the fluorescent,
Love that shirt.
the best thing about the fluorescent is that I'll be able to see it from my new season ticket seat, which is way up in the gods somewhere. It will stand out at least.
Yes, Steve,
Yeah,
with you.
in the dark.
Yeah, you would. It's the kind of training top you wear running in the morning. Like it looks like a runner's top. It's only going to suit John.
Well, that's me out then because I only run in the evenings.
And you, Paul, obviously. Do you go for a little cheeky run, do you?
No, I go out and play 90 minutes of football with people who are far younger than me.
So do I. But
I went to 35, so I thought it'd be nice and easy, right? So I've been playing all age for the last 5 years with my boy, and I've gone to over 35, so it'll be all nice and easy. And everyone's 36 years old. It's barely over 35. Cheeky fuckers.
I've screwed
on the wing and go keep up with us.
Screwed my back up. This honestly carrying children around is a killer, and my back is seriously painful. But I'm playing tomorrow night regardless. What did you say, Sean?
You actually play for 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you mean him or me?
No, Caller. I thought it was like, the five-a-side.
It's not walking football.
You've got them. My cousin goes to Fat First
for 60 of those minutes. He stands in the centre circle for 60 of those minutes, and occasionally a little trot forward, and then trot in the centre circle.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Where
Carlos
I'm from,
Valderrama.
They've got a weight loss club where they all go and play football, and I can't remember exactly what it's called, but that's what I imagined you doing on a Tuesday.
Well, look, I'll just have you know, like I lost 4 stone the other year. Unfortunately, I found 2 of it again, but this is helping me get it off. I've got to say it's very good, and it burns about 1,200 calories in 90 minutes. Is good, but the skill level, me up top, banging them away.
I still haven't seen the video evidence of this, though, Caller, so I feel like you're lying to us.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been picked up by Sky yet, Shan. Sorry about that.
Doesn't sex burn more calories, though, Caller?
You what, sorry?
Doesn't sex burn more calories?
Wouldn't know, to be honest. Yeah. Zaniolo. What do you think of him, John?
He scored a nice goal in the Conference League final, didn't he? That's sort of my limit, really, on him. I haven't seen a lot of him.
He's not done much in the league. So, I mean, I haven't sat and watched Roma because, as you probably know, I hate Mourinho and have no interest in watching any of his sides play football. But I think he's got 2 goals and maybe 1 or 2 assists in the league, played 30-something games. So his numbers aren't great. The Conference League, he was far better, but I think that a lot of those games that he played in the Conference League were against, what should be inferior opposition. But his cost wouldn't be that bad. I think that it's like 30 million or something like that to buy him. But I think Roma are happy to send him out on loan with an option to buy.
He had 2 season-ended injuries as well.
2 ACLs he's had.
2 ACLs, yeah.
Which is obviously a very nasty injury, but he's still young. Very talented, apparently.
How young is he?
20, I want to say
22.
22, even younger.
I'm just on the football
next year then.
Sorry?
How old will he be next year then?
Depends on his
27. just on the Football Italia website, and it says that Mourinho is very fed up with Zaniolo and is in a hurry to find a solution.
I mean, if
So maybe
Mourinho's fed up with him, maybe we could swap him with Ndombele.
Mourinho gets fed up with everyone.
Yeah.
Particularly when they're talented, normally. That's the killer. If you're talented, that's the real problem for him. But where does... I think that's just literally... He's taken the words right out of my mouth, King Hoddle. Where would he play in our system, John?
I would imagine the Sonny role cover for that position. A right-footed player cutting in from the left. Or left-footed. Sorry, apparently not. A left-footed player, right winger.
So same as Kulu.
Yeah. Or second striker.
But that only makes sense if we're going to get rid of Mora as well as Bergwijn, I think. And Mora's never going to go. Mora will be 60 years old and still on the bench.
No, well, he's going back to Brazil in 2 years, isn't he? So I guess we could possibly loan Mora.
The end is in sight.
Another year, I think. Another year. He's got
load him out to Barnsley.
Barnsley.
Look, Lucas will always be a legend, won't he? That's the reality. For Spurs fans, he will always be a legend, and we'll always love him.
Frustrating to watch, though. You just know what you're going to get with him. He's going to run at someone, but he's going to run at them for too long. He won't lift his head, and then he's going to lose the ball. It's what he does every single time. You know what's going to happen. You think he's coming on. It's like very rarely does he change a game. It's very frustrating.
I always say with Lucas, I think it's the only really good game he's had was in that semi in Amsterdam, and thank God he did. But he's got no brain when it comes to football. The final pass, he just makes the wrong choice every single time. Paul, let's get your view. Lucas, would you sell him if you had the opportunity?
Absolutely. Yeah, but I still think that the dribbling is really good. Like, he dribbles really well. He gets players in. Other players opens up, but it's that doesn't then find the space. So he does the right thing by sucking all the defenders in, but then he seems to have this brain fart where he goes, "There's 4 of them. I can beat that," and that's when he ends up losing it. Whereas if he actually just grew a brain and was able to just slide the ball out, all of a sudden he'd become the player that he should be.
Yeah.
And he's probably at a stage where he's never going to change that.
And you always see that in your five-a-side, 11-a-side, fairly amateur leagues, yeah, like me and you clearly play.
Speak for yourself.
You always see the idiot that just thinks he can just take on another 3 players. That's you, isn't it?
No. I know where my limits are, mate. I'm all about moving the ball quickly.
Safe player.
Leaving it at me that weighs about 10 stone more than me can't get to me.
That's me.
The big bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, let's talk outs. So Ndombele, nothing happening, nothing at all. Should we be worried about this, Shan? I mean,
she loves
are you there,
Ndombele.
Shan? Have you frozen, Shan? You all right? If I put his salary up on the screen, £200,000 a week, would you be more worried about it or less worried about it?
Just bury him.
Mark, I'd just like to say sorry. I'm there on the Saturday with Stevie. Sadly, but have a great night. It's gonna be absolutely banging.
Ndombele.
Jan, do you think you can speak a bit quicker? Christ.
I just don't have the words how disappointing. Willow, shut the fuck up. Sorry. I just don't have the words for how infuriating he is. And I know I need to stop going on about it, but that game against Morecambe really was the last I ever want to see of him in a Spurs shirt, because it was truly dreadful. And Caller and John experienced my absolute pain and anger in person. Bless them. So, actually, I think mine and James's anger was quite on par. Between the two of us, we were pretty angry. So, Yeah, he's got to go somewhere. There's rumours that he may be going to, is it Besiktas or on loan?
Yeah.
Or Galatasaray. It's one of the Turkish clubs. Yeah. It doesn't concern me. He'll be gone before. He won't be playing. He won't be training with the first team anyway, and he'll be gone before the season starts. I don't think he'll make it on our pre-season tour.
And it's a real crying shame because the talent that he has is incredible. But what I used to not really like about Ndombele is when you watched him play, it looked like he didn't know what his legs were going to do.
Yeah,
like
he didn't. He genuinely didn't.
Going all over again, and his head's going, "What the fuck happened here?" You know, it's very rare that you see someone being a professional footballer that looks like they have no control over their limbs. And it's really incredible to see. And it's a shame that we're never going to see that.
It is a shame. It really is.
Well, we've got 222 people watching at 114 likes. Lindy is absolutely right. Please click that like button for us. It helps the old, what's the word called? I can't think of the word. Algorithm.
The YouTube algorithm. Yeah, the famous algorithm. Here's Jack. Jack was on the show the other night. Hi, evening, Jack.
Jack was brilliant the other night.
Evening, Jack.
MW is a tricky one. What's let him down is being lazy. Yeah, but I mean, even he had a look. Yeah, let's talk about the support that he had. He had one-to-one training on Clapham Common with at the height of lockdown with Jose Mourinho. Yeah, he had a pep talk with Levy, who told him all about his schooling. How hard it was for him at school, and how he fought back to become a really good accountant. So I just think he's had loads of support, hasn't he?
When I lived in London, going one-on-one with another man on Clapham Common was entirely different to that, though.
Ndombele's got to think about it. What do you think Ndombele's going to like most about playing in Turkey, Paul?
Well, don't they sacrifice an animal when a new player, like on the pitch, when the new player is signed?
Really?
Not in Turkey.
I mean, yeah. I remember. Oh God, was it? Did Les Ferdinand play at that? I remember a couple of players have said like they literally, like Dean Saunders played for Galatasaray under Souness. They literally like get a chicken or a goat or something and literally just kill it on the pitch.
Come here.
As sort of a ceremonial thing.
So would Ndombele feel better if they sacrificed a cockerel on the pitch before he starts? Would that be like a nice end to his Spurs career?
Only if they could barbecue it for him and you could have a little snack.
I was actually thinking, this man's got it. They're very good at kebabs in Turkey. So he is going to be like a pig in shit. He'll be loving life.
Sacrifice the chicken and then fry it and give it to him after the game.
Deep fried.
You're a bit late with that, Shan. You were too busy bollocking the dog.
That and my USB fell out of my mic, so I muted myself.
Oh, your figgy. My figgy. There you go. He wants to go. He's got. Well, okay. There you go. He's got it.
To answer your question from ages ago, I think we don't need to worry about people leaving now. We've got 9-10 weeks.
Sorry, what question was that?
Is there a question?
The question was: should we be worried that no one's left yet?
Oh, got you. Right. Well, we've solved that.
No is the answer.
He's going to Turkey for the kebabs. Where's GLC going? I still think our left centre back is going to be Pau Torres. He's going to go the other way, and all's going to be well with the world. Shan.
What? Dick Towers?
Dick Towers. Yeah. I like the fact that I saw you. Unfortunately, my Daisy's glass is empty again. So I'm going to have to go and fill it up. But you talk about Dick Towers and Lo Celso. You talk about your rage and hatred for Lo Celso, if you like, Shan.
Okay. I don't hate Lo Celso. The only player I hate is Ndombele, and that's because of what he did against Morecambe. But Lo Celso, I just think isn't suited to the Premier League. It's too physical for him, and I think he'll do a lot better in Spain. And I wish him all the best. I do. Dick Towers, also known as Pau Torres. I don't know.
the noise that came out, obviously last season, I was like, no, I don't want to go to Spurs. I want Champions League, which is fair enough. But then this season, it's he'd prefer to go to United than come to Spurs, who have no Champions League football. So I don't really think he wants to come to Spurs. And if you don't want to come to Spurs, I'd rather not force him, because what good does it do? If I'm honest, I think that ship sailed. Shut the fuck up. Can you hear her?
Nope.
It's really annoying.
I just thought you were talking to yourself.
No, come here. She's in season, so she keeps, all I've heard all day is.
That's why you've got the sticks.
That's why I've got the bamboo sticks. Look.
I thought that was in season.
No, they're for my plants.
Of course they are.
Yeah, that's code.
I promise I don't hit my dogs with bamboo.
So you know how normal people sort of use twine to tie their plants to it? Shen's got these little silver things with keys that she uses to tie her plants to it.
That's where Jack is at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jack's not allowed out the dungeon. I'm not quite sure what she's doing there.
What's your thoughts on Lo Celso? Where's he going to go, Paul?
I think he's got to stay in Spain. I mean, I think that really suits him as a league. He's got more time on top, and that's what really works for him and the skill set that he's got. It's a shame because I just read King Puddle's comment. He's a great pawn making details, isn't it? I think that Lo Celso fits in so much in Spain. You know, it's really down to his skill set, and I think that the Premier League there's not enough time for him to think. He's not a player who knows what he's going to do before he gets. He's a player who receives the ball, wants to survey everything and go, that's the best option, and then he can lay on a beautiful pass, because he's absolutely got that. But he just doesn't. I don't think he has the speed of thought to be able to cope in the Premier League.
Yeah.
What do you think, Owen?
Did you get a beer, Owen?
I've got beer. I only poured just over half because I thought I've got work in the morning. I need to be responsible.
I've got work soon. Do I need to be responsible as well?
What are you drinking?
I was drinking coffee, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, just have a. You can pour another one. That's absolutely fine. I'm not worried about that.
I don't do the instant coffees yet, so the machine will make lots of noise.
I saw this week a quote, Dejan Kulusevski saying, I don't want to hype anyone up, but all I can say is the Tottenham fans have something to look forward to this season. Don't you just love this guy, Shan? I mean, Kulusevski, he's been a revelation. A revelation since he came in, hasn't he?
Yeah, you got that info from me. I shared it in the chat, didn't I?
Via Stewart, yeah.
I absolutely love that guy. Everything he has said since he's signed has just been brilliant, and it's not even what he's saying; he's backing it up on the pitch as well. Like he was probably our best player the second half of last season. Mm-hmm. The impact that guy had was just remarkable, considering he's a Juventus reject and he was shit. Like he's just absolutely brilliant. He says all the right things. His attitude is spot on. He clearly loves the club. I know he said he loved being at Spurs and he'd only been with us for like 3-4 months. And people were moaning. He's like, oh, why is he like? He clearly don't love the club. It's like, well, maybe he does. Maybe he has just come to Spurs. It's been the right fit at the right time and he's fallen in love with the place. And the reception he got from the fans straight away, he got his own chant. But some of our players have been at the club for years, don't have any. I think I heard the Ben Davies chant for the first time in like, what is it, 9 years? 8-9 years?
Whoa. What's the Ben Davies chant? I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, do share.
Ben Davies, isn't it?
It's what?
Super Ben Davies.
What?
Super Ben.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a chant, is it? That's just,
But that's the first time I've heard anyone.
You can't think of anything else. So
Kulusevski has got a full-blown chant. Even Harry Kane don't have an original chant. Harry Kane has a recycled chant. Kulusevski's got his own original.
Is he your favourite now, or is Pierre still in there?
Bentancur's my favourite.
Bentancur. He's the reason.
I still love PEH, but I mean, Kulusevski I don't love him for the same reasons as I love PEH and Bentancur. I love him just because he's fucking brilliant. And he's going on the back of my home shirt this season, I think.
Shan, what reasons do you like the other two then?
Will you say PEH looks like a builder?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's a bit rough.
He
Paul,
doesn't.
tell me, Paul, am I right?
Well, look, I think he looks like a builder, mate. Yeah.
No.
I think that if you
Probably.
listen to, I mean, obviously no one listens to other podcasts, but Bardi on the Extra Ints always describes him as playing like a cement mixer. So,
Really?
yeah. So I think that there's definitely a builder thing going on there. And, probably got
underrated last season.
so.
PEH got a lot of unfair slack last season. I think he carried the team with injuries as well. He didn't want to let the team down. And his stats were really good last season. He was really underappreciated, I think. With Bentancur coming in, someone he trusts, so he's not playing in a midfield two with Harry Winks. Let's put that clear.
But he's a limited player, but what he's able to do within his limitations is great. And that skill set is what's needed for that position.
I still love PEH. PEH is still top tier, but I love Bentancur as well. Just some of the stuff he does. It's a turn on. I can't lie.
I think I'd rather see Skip next to Bentancur.
Would you?
Yeah.
So let's hang on. Let's rewind a track. Okay. Let's say we're starting next season now. We're playing our first game Southampton, right?
I'll be there.
Mate, we're gonna have some beers.
I'm buzzing.
Bit of Beavertown. We're going down to Beavertown.
You'll be able to experience some beaver.
I know.
Paul, are you staying over in London town? Are you? Or?
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't sorted out where I'm staying yet, but I probably need to be close.
Well, mate, look, I will buy you a beer. I can't wait to see you.
It's happy, mate. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Very emotional. Who
is going to the Southampton game? I'm obviously going.
Season ticket holder, Shan. Well done, Shan.
My first season ticket game, yeah. So
rather use me with the 5 floors.
My marriage that morning, but I'm hoping it won't take long. That's at 9 o'clock. Should be fine. I think I'm going to get the train as well.
If they're running, if they're not on strike.
Fingers crossed they're not.
Steve Diver in the chats. He'll have something to say about that.
It's April, isn't it? I'm hoping they'll be running by then. If not, I'll just drive. But I think a train at the minute's probably cheaper. And
do you know what ideal wedding prep? You're going to be running up and down 5 flights of stairs.
Funny story, right? The first time I experienced level 5, I got up to
He's gone. He's back.
Got to the top of the stairs and was so dead and out of breath. I got to the bar and I literally couldn't speak. The guy at the bar was like, "What do you want?" And I'm just like, "You're gonna have to
defibrillation."
I cannot talk. So it'll be good. It'll be good prep for the wedding, yeah. And my wedding has taken place over the international break. So
whereabouts are you likely to be sitting, Paul? Do you know?
I don't know yet, mate. I've got to go through the season through the Overseas Sports Club ballot to get a ticket. I'd love to get in a safe standing.
Yeah, south stands. Yeah. John, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, Shan, are you suggesting the club should be selling oxygen on the bars up at the top level? Because that could be another thing.
Put something in between so you can have a little snack shop on the way up halfway or something.
Not a bad chance.
You reckon he's missing a trick with not flogging oxygen, John?
Do you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
You should have the Bon Jovi shop halfway up that just, you're halfway there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than when you've just driven 2.5 hours. This was a Southampton game, right? I obviously got caught in an hour's worth of traffic. So I was in the car for 3.5 hours. Then I had to park up, get the overground from Edmonton to the White Hart Lane station, ran to the stadium. Then I had to run up 5 flights of stairs. I was dying for a wee this whole time. And honestly, I thought I was going to die. I just about got my sausage roll and drink. and sat down time to kick off.
Just about got to top up with calories. It's time to kick off.
Exactly. I hadn't eaten all day. I was sat in the car for God knows how long. Absolute joke.
Well, right. Let's go back to the question. How are we going to line up then? Paul, tell us, Paul from Australia. How are we going to line up? Obviously, Lloris in goal.
Oh, really? You don't think Forster's in? Yeah, so it'll be Lloris. It will be Perisic, and then you'll have Davies, Dyer, Romero, probably Doherty, Bentancur, Skip, Son, Kulusevski, Kane. Have I missed one?
That's 11.
Who did you put in your midfield? I was stroking my dog.
Skip.
Who with Skip? Bentancur.
Yeah.
So you
What
won't
about
have
Bissouma?
Bissouma.
I think we'll see Bissouma.
Don't know, mate. I don't know if he's going to go straight in. It all depends on what the preseason looks like with him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because Conte likes to get a player embedded in his system before he'll put them out in the Premier League.
Although Bissouma's been.
Bissouma's got a full pre-season as well, though.
Yeah, true.
Well, he only played a couple of weeks ago for Mali, so he'll be coming back a bit later as well, won't he? So it depends how fit Skip is, how he recovers from his injury.
That's look, it's one of those things that we have no idea really what Bissouma is going to look like when he starts his pre-season. No idea whether he's going to be up to what Conte wants, or whether he's going to have to go through a bit of a Conte training program. Who knows?
I mean, Skip would be my second choice. It's really, you're going to have to rotate them, aren't you? Because they're all great midfielders.
I think with all the options that we've got and all the competitions we're playing, is that you're going to see rotation in those midfield positions and also in the wing backs. That's the most sensible places that you'll see rotation. I don't think at the moment we'll see much up front because I don't see what the other options are.
John, your view?
I think he's right. The midfield's quite interesting. Obviously, Bentancur is pretty much the only one who's guaranteed the start, and the other three are going to perm around him. I could see some games where we play three in the middle. Definitely see that.
Shan, I can almost smell your dog through the mic.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It really is.
It's annoying. If I stop stroking her, she's the other side of the sofa, right? So I'm having to stretch like this to stroke her on her nose. And if I stop, she cries. It's so annoying. She's in season, so she's being extra, extra needy. And I've had to deal with that all day while I've been working. It's been driving me nuts.
In season?
Yeah, she's on her lady time of the month.
Got you. I can smell it.
Sound any more seedy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. John, sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, I think, as I said, there'll be some games where we will play three in the middle. I think Jack's got it right. Bissouma will improve Højbjerg. Bentancur's improved Højbjerg, hasn't he? Højbjerg's been so much better at the back end of the season. But yeah, it'd be Bentancur and one, depending on fitness. And then we've got.
I'm surprised. I'm not sure it will be Bentancur on one, but okay.
Is it Chelsea away? Is our second game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Please, just I'll be happy if we score a goal against Chelsea.
Gets it out of the way early on, Shan. That's what I'm thinking.
I'd rather play. Yeah, but then would I rather do Chelsea at home early in the season? I don't know. It's a hard one, but out of all of the teams in the Premier League, Chelsea are the ones that I hate. I hate that game.
Yeah, I hate that game too. Yeah. Okay. Shan?
Midfield?
Well, no, you start 11 as it is now versus Southampton.
Yeah, I think it'll be Hugo, Perisic, Daddy Davies, Dyer, Romero, Doherty.
Yeah.
I think it will be Bentancur, Højbjerg.
Yeah.
And then, Son, Kane, Kulusevski.
Okay. So many players, basically, pick themselves, don't they? So Hugo in goal for me. Doherty right wing back. Perisic left wing back. Centre backs fairly obvious. Romero, Davis, Dyer. Midfield. This is where I'm going to go a little bit away from what you guys are saying. I actually think that Basuma will start, and I think he will be in midfield with Højbjerg. And I think you've got the three you would expect up top: Kulu,
Controversial.
Kane, and Son. I think Højbjerg has not let anyone down, and I think he does a very solid job. And to bring Skip's a better player than Højbjerg, I've no doubt about it. But I just think he needs a full preseason. He needs to be eked back. He's had quite a big injury. He needs to be eked back into the side. And I think that Bentancur is, the way I see it, we've got two progressive central midfielders and two defensive central midfielders. So you wouldn't play Basuma and Bentancur probably. You'd play one or the other. And I think Basuma will get the nod first game.
But with Skip, I mean, I suppose your choice is that you either use him as one of the 5 subs and bring him in for minutes that way, or you start him with a view to playing him for a half and then bringing in Højbjerg or Basuma. So, you know, I mean, it's just how Conte sees that reintegration going best.
Yeah. And to answer this, yes, we probably will sign 3 more, but and they will be slotted in as we go through on the cheese room over the next few weeks. We'll keep predicting the first 11 until we get right.
I still don't think the starting 11 will be too far from that, even if we do sign 3 more, though, because we're signing them later in the window.
No, I think we'll sign. Next week's big. I'm telling you now, next week is big. We will sign at least 1 player next week.
And Paul Compton, you've got to know that, you know, that could change, but you must realise we're making this shit up as we go along as well.
Yeah. None of us know what we're talking about. The starting
we get it.
completely different to what
So,
we said.
On Bentancur, I've just looked. He hasn't played since the Norwich game, so he didn't play for Uruguay in their games that they played last month or this month. So I don't know whether he's picked up an injury or if he's just been rested. So hopefully he'll be fresh.
He's the reason.
He's the reason.
He is the reason. That's an interesting second 11. Forster.
Is that the Conference League team?
Forster, Sessegnon, Davis, Sanchez, Tanganga, Spence, PH, Skip, Aura, Richarlison +1. Doesn't look so bad when you say it like that, does it?
Troy Parrott.
We're 3 players away from having a really banging squad. I think 3 good players away. I do think when you say it out loud, the first 11, it helps you sort of in your head galvanise what we need, and I think we do need an upgrade on Davis, because as much as though I talked myself in and out of this, as much as though he was brilliant at the end of last season, he is limited compared to that position. You could absolutely strengthen it. I think you could strengthen Dyer, although we won't. I think you absolutely could. Right wing back, we can strengthen there. And then we're looking at options for rotation or backup. That's where I think we're at. So I don't think the starting 11 for the team will be too far away from that. Yeah, he was injured, actually. He was injured. I don't think we'll be too far away from that at all. I think Sessegnon definitely, I've seen Super Tottenham's comment, Sessegnon will definitely be in the mix this season, because I thought he was really good in the last season. Really good.
He can stay fit.
Conte loves him.
But his big fitness, he's had so many injuries.
Yeah.
He's had so many injuries, and he needs to manage his body better.
Yeah. So when you look at our shopping list, and we haven't spent any money really significantly, it spent what, 25 mil, 30 mil on Basuma. You look at the firepower we've got in the transfer window, and Spurs fans should feel confident, right? They should feel really confident we're going to have a good season, because we're going into this season on the back of securing top 4 Champions League football. We've got a pretty good first 11 there, and a little bit of depth with the 2 outfield players we've brought in have given us a little bit more depth. If we can clear some of the players we don't want, and I know you're pro Skip, but Pro Winks. If we can clear Winks, because he's not going to get used, and bring him in.
I disagree. He needs to go. But
bring in a player that does get used. Yeah. And we get a rotation forward, if that's Richarlison or someone else. Then why can't we do something? Why can't we do something? Tell me now. Why can't we challenge for the league, Paul?
Because I'm a Spurs fan, I've been doing this for too long.
Yeah, but this is the best Spurs team on paper going into a season that we'll have had for years.
True, but I mean, you look at the two, maybe three that are going to be ahead of us, and Man City and Liverpool are going to be difficult to catch. I mean,
we beat them both last season. Well, no, we didn't. We didn't.
Because that's really what we're looking at. We've got to get close to 100 points to win the league, and maybe I'm just a pessimistic old Spurs fan, but I can't see us doing that. They would have to have bad seasons for us to push through.
Liverpool have just lost Mane, and I don't know how Darwin Núñez is going to settle into the Premier League.
Liverpool have got change, real change, because don't forget Salah's running down his contract as well. So next 2 years are pretty pivotal for Liverpool. Especially their midfield is full of old men, isn't it?
Yeah. James Milner signed a contract extension.
Yeah. Well, you'd want to keep him around, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would want to keep him around. But equally, I just think Liverpool have got a lot of change coming. City are obviously very, very strong, and they've just signed Haaland. So, yeah, I hear you, Paul, completely hear you. They can have 100 million players on the bench because they cheat at financial fair play, basically. But yeah,
City will win the league again next season.
I agree.
I think Grealish will be better this season. Second season.
Nah, Grealish. I'll tell you with Grealish, right? He's a player that Villa looked fantastic because he was allowed to look fantastic because he can run on the ball. That's his game. He's not the kind of player that City need. City need passes. He's not a passer.
But is it also a case of the big fish, small pond thing? So and I think that we've mentioned this with Sam Maximum as well. Like, it looks amazing at Newcastle, but if he goes to a bigger club where he's got more quality around him, is he still going to look fantastic?
I agree. Here's the question then: where are we going to finish next season? Massive question, because I know we're only in the transfer window, but based on everything you know right at this precise moment, so let's be clear, we'll revisit these predictions all the way through, right up to the start of the season, and then we're going to make a note of them, and they're here on YouTube forever. So we can go back. So think before you speak. John, what are you saying?
Let me just add, HG didn't want to do this, did he?
That was the quietest. That was the quietest I've ever heard.
What? Third.
Thank you.
HG did not want to do this, did he? I mentioned doing this a month ago, and he bottled it.
Couldn't care less what HG wants.
But yeah, I reckon third.
Yeah. Shan?
I think we'll be in the race until about Christmas time, and then we'll fall off, and we'll finish third in a 2-horse race because we've all seen it before. I think third in a trophy next season. And I think we'll go deep into the Champions League, maybe quarter-final, semi-final.
The dog agrees.
Third in the cup. I think that's realistic. I think that we've definitely made improvements on the squad. We're definitely making improvements in the way that we play, the mentality around us. Do I think it's enough to challenge Liverpool City? No. But I do think it's going to put us, we're going to get more points, we're going to finish higher, and third's realistic. And I do think that we can get a cup out of it as well.
Okay. Which cup?
I looked at the romantic in me, says FA Cup.
Yeah.
It'll probably be
the FA Cup. Love it.
Probably be the Carling Rumbelows.
Manchester City Cup, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to say we're going to finish second. I think Liverpool are going to have a wobble, purely because they've got their players, their squad's aging, and I think they're changing their forward line around a lot at the moment. So I think there's a lot of accommodation they've got to make. So I think we'll finish just above them. You've got to remember, since Conte got established, we beat City twice, right? We didn't lose to Liverpool last season at all. So there is absolutely options to do well. I can't write any team
people like Burnley consistently that we're
yeah, and that is the problem. That's the age problem. But I think under Conte, I think he's going to steal this side, and I think we're going to do some big business, like we've all said in the transfer market. We haven't cracked into the 100 million investment at all, so we are going to bring in good players. You add a top class right wing back in that situation, and not Spence, please not Spence, a top class right wing back, a good centre back, and a forward rotation option. There's no reason we can't finish second, because if you think that's 3 more quality players on the bench, who, you know, whichever way you put it, if Son's not in, Richarlison's in, that's what we've got to have. We've got to have that quality rotation. So absolutely, there is no way on God's green earth we cannot finish at least second.
At least
that's what I tell myself to give myself belief and hope. Shan?
At least second, did you just say?
Yeah.
How on the probability scale out of 100, how probable do you think it is we'll win the league next season?
Not very.
So you're pretty much 95% sure we'll finish second?
You can't predict anything until we kick the ball. City might have a disaster. Haaland might be a complete waste of money. You don't know. But the balance of probability, right, that City are going to be incredibly difficult to beat and strong. Liverpool, I have my doubts about. I think they're going to go through a transitional period over the next 2 years. And I think Chelsea, given what they've lost from their side, they've lost 4 really key, experienced first-team players. I think they're the ones that are going to take the biggest hit and will be under fire. You're going to have a resurgent Man United at some point, whether it's this season or next. What about them?
Where do you think they'll finish?
6th.
Oof.
I'm kind of hoping
finish
for
above.
Sorry,
I'm hoping for 19th.
I'm going to be really honest, right? Like, Arteta is the most overrated manager in the Premier League. The most overrated manager in the Premier League. A Lego head, 100%.
He's only rated by Arsenal fans, though.
Yeah, exactly. And Pep.
He's the second best manager in the league, according to the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, but they haven't got a clue what they're talking about, have they? Like, literally not a clue. And they've signed a striker from a side that doesn't play with a striker.
Until now.
Go figure. So, yeah, well, look, we're in it. We're in it.
What happens in the next season, we can all just sit here thankful that we'll never be them.
You are, sorry, Paul.
Whatever happens, we will never be them. We'll never be Gooners. So we just have to be thankful for the life choices we've made.
I made a very good life choice, because it would have been very easy for me to support Arsenal because my dad is a Gooner. So I feel like I made a very, very good life choice.
It must be sad every time you speak to him, Shan.
I think he got over it a long time ago. I bullied him into it was when Bale first started to become really, really good. He still had the number 3, and we had the light blue away kit. I think it was our first season in the Champions League. I bullied him into buying me that away shirt for Christmas. And ever since then, I think he's just sort of slowly got over it.
Well, look, we've been going nearly 2 hours. We appreciate you all for watching. Please do hit the like button and subscribe. We massively appreciate you following and supporting the Cheese Room. So thanks for that. And follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook. We're all out there. There's more content coming tomorrow. There's a quiz. I think Seb's doing a quiz on YouTube, potentially doing it live, but if not, it'll be released as a video tomorrow. Paul from the Spurs, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You've been fantastic.
It's a pleasure, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's good to be back on.
Has the sun risen now in Oz?
Yeah, look, it's first light. It's still a bit cloudy outside. I think I'm going to have some rain today. It's not going to be a beautiful day, but that's okay.
Well, look, I hope you have a wonderful one. John, as ever, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been great, mate. Great time. I'm back on Friday. I'm hosting, aren't I? Because you're buggering off to the F1.
I'm at the F1. I'll be 9 p.m. Segala comes on main stage, and of course, I'm watching cars spin around a track all day. Bit disappointed I'm not in hospitality, if I'm being really honest, but I'm going to try and blag something in the meantime. So yeah, you'll be in the hot seat. You'll be on the left-hand side, top left. That way. No sacred cows born to lose. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Although there kind of was, because I've got to be honest, I thought Paul sort of defended Harry Winks a bit like a sacred cow. But anyway, Shan, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Apologies for this one and all the noise. She's settled now. This is how close she has to be to not make that irritating noise. So
should have just done that. She's a beautiful dog.
She's a lovely dog, but my God, she's annoying.
Yeah. I'm not going to say what's in my head. Right. Until next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.